in love with a class in Barcelona. Since 2007, I direct Objetos con Vidrio, an online platform about contemporary glass. Part of the work as a curator and journalist is to disseminate the work of artists, artisan, designer, and reflect the activity of artistic glass. One of my goals is to promote Ibero-American art, to ensure that artistic production receive greater recognition. This time, the focus is on women, who deserve visibility and attention from both their peers, as well as institutions and other space. Glass by Ibero-American Women is a presentation on the different productions that exist in the region. Glass pioneers, emerging artists, and designers participate in it. Creative women who inspire and stimulate us with her valuable contribution.
Hi, I'm Silvia Levenson, and I was born in Buenos Aires in Argentina. I'm living in Italy since 1980 because I had to emigrate because of the military dictatorship. But I used to come back to Argentina every year for meeting my family and my friends. And I started working with glass in 1990, and in 1995 I was teaching in Buenos Aires in the glass school for the first time. And I was so surprised because it was a public glass school founded by María, a glassmaker and artist. And so for me it was very important since then that to share all the information I had in Spanish. I'm not fascinated at all by glass. I'm not fascinated by the beauty of glass, but for the ambiguity, by the ambiguity of this material that can isolate and protect us in our homes, but can be also dangerous and breaks and harm us. So I use glass for exploring the relationship of people in the family and in the society. I was using for speak about the childhood, and I don't have the idea of the golden age, but an age where maybe a lot of children have to build their armor, or how uncomfortable can be the life for women. And also I made a project called Missing Identity, where I was speaking about what happened in Argentina during the dictatorship. So all my work is connected to these political and social issues.
Hola, mi nombre es Miriam Silvia di Fiore y yo nací en Argentina 62 años atrás. Hace más de 40 años que vivo en Italia y es aquí que yo empecé a trabajar con el vidrio. En el 1984 yo hice mis primeras pruebas de fusing aquí en Italia. Mi trabajo es conocido principalmente por mis paisajes con profundidad óptica. En realidad estos paisajes nunca quisieron ser obras de arte. Lo que quise siempre hacer es traducir fielmente, lo más honestamente posible, los lugares que fueron importantes para mi vida. Y es casi una casualidad, pero casi todo lo que me pasó de bueno en mi vida empezó a pasarme en un bosque. Empezando por mi infancia, que se desarrolló en un lugar donde había una enorme pileta, donde yo pasé los momentos más bellos de mis primeros años de vida. El trabajar con el fusing ha sido una vida espléndida, ha sido una manera verdaderamente estupenda de pasar este tiempo que he tenido hasta ahora en este mundo, y espero de poder seguir haciéndolo por mucho tiempo más. Pero una de las cosas más lindas, de los regalos más grandes que me hizo el vidrio a mí, fue durante el enseñamiento. A mí me gusta muchísimo trabajar con otra gente y eso ha sido verdaderamente muy importante para mí. Quizás más aún que hacer mi propia obra ha sido trabajar con mis alumnos. Y de esto le estoy muy agradecida al vidrio, porque en realidad nunca me escondió ninguno de sus secretos.
Mi nombre es Andrea da Ponte, de Avellaneda, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Hace 8 años me recibí de técnica y desde entonces dicto clases de arte en vidrio. Mi obra se basa en objetos soplados y king casting, el desarrollo de la imagen dentro y fuera de los volúmenes, explorando distintas técnicas. La búsqueda personal de la línea me llevó a desarrollar una técnica de transferencia digital color que comparto con alumnos y profesores de mi país y del exterior. La investigación fue un pilar fundamental para relacionarme con el vidrio. La búsqueda de la imagen claramente definida fue el motor incansable en búsqueda de métodos y mejores formas de aplicarlos. El proceso creativo surge en mis pensamientos, pasando varios meses hasta la ejecución definitiva en mi taller, recreando distintos procesos de una misma idea hasta alcanzar lo deseado. Lo hecho a mano atrapa mis emociones, deja huella de los caminos recorridos, para llegar a concretar nuestras ideas, generando así una profunda conexión con el espectador. Los objetos perduran a través del tiempo, contando nuestra historia y evolución. Utiliza los mapas como lenguaje para reconocer el espacio que habitamos, dónde estamos, dónde pertenecemos y hacia dónde nos dirigimos. Actualmente estoy trabajando en una nueva instalación, inspirada en lo que nos contiene, la conexión de lo humano con lo universal.
Soy Claudia Golzman. Resido en Argentina, en la ciudad de Buenos Aires, donde nací y crecí. Dibujo, pinto, modelo y desde hace 25 años trabajo con vidrio. Hago esculturas, con la técnica del casting a la cera perdida. Doy clases en escuelas públicas de artes y oficios en la ciudad de Buenos Aires. Entiendo el arte como una unidad. Mis búsquedas de paleta de color en la pintura influyen en las elecciones de los vidrios y viceversa. Es una deriva obligada. Mis obras surgen a partir de la emoción. Necesito la figura humana, o al menos evocarla. Cuando una idea o sensación me conmueve, la despliego durante un tiempo. Puede estar vigente semanas o años y ser la gestora de varias piezas. Mientras esa idea permanece, voy dejándome llevar por ella hasta que me abandona. Desarrollo cada momento del proceso de trabajo con una enorme satisfacción. Vivo en este oficio. Disfruto de comprender la naturaleza de los materiales, la intimidad de la cera, la plasticidad de la arcilla, la densidad del yeso, la viscosidad del vidrio que se acomoda en el molde. Todo es muy sensorial y sensual. El vidrio, desde su esencia simbólica, expresa fragilidad y transparencia. Me interesa el sentido de la oposición que ofrece entre lo que parece ser y lo que representa. Mi proyecto indaga en lo intangible y misterioso de las relaciones, en ese escandaloso equilibrio entre la vida y la muerte. Las obras que hice durante varios años acerca de los éxodos migrantes son una forma posible de interpelación sobre complejos y sensibles conflictos humanos, cuerpos agolpados que tensan fronteras y buscan resquicios para vivir. El vidrio es una suerte de sed que no se sacia, afortunadamente.
My name is Lourdes Zenobi. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I didn't get a formal education in art. I had studied chemistry, well, so different to this, but art was supposed to be a hobby, just that. I always loved different kind of art, like oil paintings, Chinese porcelain, photography, or anything that catch my attention. Since my sister and me, we were little kids, my parents took us to different art exhibitions here in Buenos Aires or wherever we have traveled at international museums. all those experiences has left their mark on me. Always my inspiration was my childhood, my memories, and since I became a mom, my girls' childhood, and everything related to them. I have been so lucky to be able to enjoy full time their experiences and their growing up since they were born. And one day I decided to try to work with glass. I had no idea what you could do with this amazing material. I only thought, well, maybe I could do some glass dishes, but well, I never made a single one, and I fell in love with glass. It has been 10 years since that day. Once a year I try to go to some workshops or conference. I travel to different places, and these trips took me to learn from great artists with different techniques, and allowed me to meet artists from different parts of the world. And all these experiences opened my mind in a way that otherwise it couldn't be possible. I use different techniques in glass, and I love photography too, so I don't use only one technique. I try to use whatever allows me to express and to get what I want to do. If I don't know how, I make research, I try to learn and to investigate to finally get what I want to do. Through the years, my work changed, but not so much in the deep. I have some different series of works.
Thank you for inviting me. My name is Jeanine Altman, and I am a visual artist from Uruguay. I work with glass since 2002 using several techniques such as fusing glass, flame working, and pâté de verre. Moreover, I developed a new technique based on pâté de verre, which I name open work glass. Briefly, it consists of units of glass joined by metal threads. My artworks are usually inspired by the universe and nature, containing both abstract and geometric forms, mostly circles and spheres, since they transmit me harmony and balance as symbols of endless movement in our lives. I also enjoy combining different shapes, textures, and colors. I use a wide variety of types of glass, for instance, float, bullseye, borosilicate, and Fiore. Recently, I have been also working and exploring glass recycling. To contribute to the environment care, which I find an important cause, I try to incorporate recycled glass to all of my artworks, either by itself or combined with not recycled glass. Furthermore, whenever is possible, I incorporate lighting systems to enhance the sculpture vitality, especially in large sculptures fixed to the wall. Also, I like to create movement, and therefore some of my artworks are hanging installations. Currently, I am working on a new concept, which is to create artwork with which people can interact. It involves a fixed base and moving items which can be placed in different positions. Thus, the artwork can be transformed, obtaining different results while the people have fun creating them. Thank you for your...
Olá, meu nome é Luciana Medeiros, eu sou brasileira e venho representar aqui o Brasil nas artes do vidro. Nosso ateliê chama Regina Medeiros Vidros. Nós estamos situadas em Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. Falar do nosso trabalho com o vidro são os conhecimentos que a Regina tem como ceramista. Ela foi durante muito tempo ceramista e depois começou os ensaios pouco a pouco com o vidro. Ela ficou muito apaixonada com esse material, né, que é fascinante, que é transparente e muito maleável com o calor, e isso foi fazendo com que ela se desenvolvesse, né, inspirada pela natureza. O nosso objetivo sempre foi levar a nossa arte para a casa das pessoas através de adornos. E a gente faz isso com muito cuidado, com muito esmero, Nós temos lá dentro do ateliê uma vidraçaria. Essa energia que a gente coloca no trabalho, ela retorna para nós em forma de comentários como: nossa, só de bater o olho numa peça eu já sei que a peça é de vocês. Nossa, que lindo, que maravilha. E isso é o que nos dá alegria para continuar trabalhando. E hoje nós temos peças ao redor do mundo todo, nós exportamos. Nós somos muito gratas por ter conseguido vencer nesse meio que é da arte e ao mesmo tempo do empreendedorismo.
Hola, mi nombre es Marta Isabel Ramírez, soy colombiana, vivo y trabajo en Bogotá, soy diseñadora de profesión, pero artista por vocación. Conocí el vidrio por primera vez hace más o menos unos 30 años en la universidad en una materia de diseño y desde entonces quedé completamente fulminada por el material, por su transparencia, su luz, por su magia. Me autodenomino como vidriopensadora porque a lo largo de mi carrera he trasegado por todas las técnicas y procesos de transformación del vidrio. Empecé como vitralista y paralelamente he ejercido como diseñadora de varias series de diseño utilitario, diseño de autor, ya rondando también como con la pieza única. A partir de ahí, hace algunos años, hice un viraje brusco hacia la escultura y hacia el arte. Básicamente desde que conocí la técnica de vidrio al soplete o lamp working, fui artista en residencia en Corning y desde ahí pues hice este viraje, ese cambio hacia mi expresión. He desarrollado una obra orgánica que consiste en emular el agua casi hasta la obsesión en todas sus etapas del movimiento, en todas sus fases de transformación, el agua derramándose, el agua salpicando, también acompañándola de diferentes elementos, haciendo una serie de escenografías en las que el agua es protagonista. También me gusta imaginar diferentes especies de la naturaleza que mi imaginación crea, una obra que se llama Híbridos, y pues estoy muy agradecida por estar en este momento dando testimonio de mi carrera como artista del vidrio en este importante evento. Muchas gracias.
Hello, my name is María. I am a glass artist and architect. I was born in Maracaibo, Venezuela, where I live and work in a home-based studio. I have been working with glass since 1995, at first with stained glass, since 2002 with kiln form glass. Since then, it has been a journey of learning and exploration. In the last years, I have focused on the integration of art glass and space. Investigation, experimentation, design of new mediums that support art glass is part of everyday life. My studio is a laboratory of ideas in constant evolution. Organicism and geometry fusing my work in different ways. I explore colors, they relate to each other. I study movement and flow and the liquid characteristics of glass. I explore textiles and how I can translate its qualities into glass. I explore light, flexibility, the principles of structure. Aerial and wall installations are versatile in space, they adapt. Movement, volume, and light give cadence to all of them. When art and space merge together, wonderful things happen. Shadows begin to appear, space changes with the interaction of light. Again, between dwelling and art starts until they become one, and wonderful things happen. and keep happening. Thank you so much.
Mi nombre es Natalia Phillips, soy de Costa Rica y hace 14 años trabajo con el vidrio. En el 2013 fundé mi taller bajo el nombre Glass Materia Studio, donde desarrollo una expresión personal con la técnica de vidrio horneado y vitral, y de forma paralela es un espacio colaborativo para compartir y recibir conocimiento a través de talleres y cursos rápidos. Lo veo como un laboratorio que me llena de ilusión y da muchas alegrías. Un lugar donde resultan experimentos exitosos y de los fallidos tomamos nota para aprender y evitar repetir en el siguiente intento. Desde muy niña disfruto crear. Las disciplinas manuales tienen un lugar muy especial durante mi proceso creativo. El punto, la línea, la textura y el ritmo de elementos como fundamentos de diseño en una estructura son un recuerdo muy vívido de la relación con mi abuela materna, cuando pasábamos horas de horas interpretando y construyendo patrones textiles. Mi trabajo actual lo desarrollo con un lenguaje simple, a través de representaciones geométricas que conllevan a la exploración y a un juego implícito con la translucidez, el color y la forma. Veo mis alrededores como composiciones de cubos, cilindros y esferas. Cada elemento es un volumen geométrico y desde ese imaginario interpreto mi obra, en módulos que se unen para así establecer diálogos bidimensionales o tridimensionales. Mi intención es sacar provecho de las cualidades tan únicas que nos ofrece el material. Al trabajar con vidrio pienso en trabajar con luz. Él da vida y crea vínculos. Con su brillo y capacidad de absorber y reflejar los colores, puede evolucionar cualquier espacio. En el vidrio encontré el material y medio idóneo para expresarme. Su gran potencial de transformarse para dar nuevos e infinitos efectos lo hace muy especial y espero poder seguir descubriéndolo por mucho tiempo más. Muchas gracias por invitarme a participar para compartir mi experiencia.
My name is Silvia Monge and I am a Costa Rican artist specialized in the technique painting with light. When I was 8 years old, my mother took me to the San Jose Cathedral, where I look up in admiration to the stained glass windows. That art form could only be found in churches during that time period in my country, and I failed to find books in the subject. Therefore, I dedicated my early artistic education to watercolor, always harboring a drop of envy to the versatility of glass. Years later, I came to admire an Italian glass artist, Aldo Canali, but was devastated when, having mustered courage to approach him for guidance, he rejected my offer. However, after seeing my watercolor paintings, he loved my art style and offered his glass workshop in exchange for watercolor classes. The dream of an 8-year-old girl became true. Glass allowed me to play not only in the 2 dimensions of paper and pigments, but on the 3-dimensional depth of the material. Instead of adjusting the intensity of the stroke of a brush, I manipulated how transparent or opaque the glass was. Instead of leaving fragments of the paper blank, glass gave viewers a physical window through my art, creating a more than a single artwork, but a myriad different artworks depending on the angle and light in which it is seen. My art is inspired by nature. One common theme amongst my artwork is the ever-changing aspects of nature. I reflect on glass this non-static view of the universe. It is thus that I reveal in glass a hidden treasure beneath a beautiful crystal ocean. I strongly believe contemporary artists should constantly challenge themselves, try new art forms, and perchance follow my path and combine art they have dreamed since childhood with their specialty.
I am Isabel. I was born in Washington, D.C. My father was Panamanian. My mother is French. I have lived in Panama most of my life. I studied at RISD, graphic design and film. When I came back to Panama in my early 20s, I started oil painting. I was doing a lot of color layering and working with transparency. I began thinking about glass, the colors, lines, and glow of the French Art Nouveau vases I had seen as a young girl at the Musée des Arts Décoratifs. I heard about Pilshock Glass School and went for the first time in 1987. That is when my passion for glass began. During that time, Panama was undergoing a military dictatorship. I was making large, violent paintings of what I felt and saw. My first glass pieces were small, simple, decorative. It made no real sense, but I knew I wanted to pursue this medium. I went many times to Pilshock during those years. It was my summer vacation. I bought an engraving lathe and eventually a kiln so that I could experiment and work in my studio in Panama. My first glass sculptures were influenced by pre-Columbian art. In 1997, I had my first exhibition in New York City with María and Marta in fine art. This was the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship. In 2006, I received a fellowship from Creative Glass Center of America. The last summers at Pilshock, I had been doing a lot of sand castings and I wanted to develop this technique further. The 3 months at Witten Arts were really a turning point in my career. I made long-lasting friendships and have been able to return as a professional artist when I need to produce larger works. In Panama, I now have 3 relatively large kilns for kiln casting and all the equipment I need for cold working, which is something I really enjoy. I feel that grinding, engraving, and sometimes polishing can change and bring inner light to a sculpture. These past years, I have been wanting to go back to painting. I started with the basics of plein air, a way to exercise the hand-eye coordination. I find that painting is really hard. It seems I can never finish. One thing that has been a constant throughout my life is drawing. I draw to remember. I draw to sketch out an idea. I draw to quench my anxiety. I draw for pure enjoyment. This year of 2020 has been one of a lot of drawing. Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Gladys Sevillano, vivo en Panamá y nací en Cali, Colombia. Llevo trabajando en vidrio hace más de 20 años.
Mi primer encuentro con el vidrio fue cuando realizaba mi trabajo de graduación en arquitectura. Desde ese entonces tengo una estrecha relación con él que no deja de asombrarme, sorprenderme, hacerme feliz y que me anima a seguir descubriéndolo en ese continuo experimentar. Del vidrio admiro todas sus cualidades. Estas han ayudado a desarrollar el lenguaje de mi trabajo, pero sobre todo lo que más me gusta es sentir que no existe el tiempo cuando trabajo con él. En mi trabajo utilizo varias técnicas como el kiln casting, pad de ver, fusión, que unidas a diferentes materiales como el bronce, hierro, cemento, hilos y otros, dan forma a mi trabajo. El tema que me ocupa ya hace un tiempo es el viaje, como ese camino que estamos todos recorriendo en este mundo. Habla de un viaje geográfico que la humanidad ha emprendido hace miles de años, pero también habla de un viaje del que casi no tenemos conciencia y que inicia con la primera inhalación y termina con la última exhalación. Es el viaje más corto y más largo, de la razón al corazón, donde experimentamos nuestro mundo interno. La máscara fue el primer tema que abordé como elemento que nos conectaba con lo espiritual y desconocido, y a las que vuelvo de tanto en tanto para desarrollar esa parte geométrica que también llevo dentro.
I'm Luisa Restrepo Moreno, born in Colombia, now living and working in Mexico City, where I founded my studio in 2005, specializing in warm glass techniques. My practice can be described as a series of formal exercises on pattern and tempo. Initially, I worked with rhythmic formations intended to emulate movement, growth, and expansion. Later I incorporated ornamentation, not as a covering, not as a surface treatment, but as a piece in itself. Simultaneously, I started working with the body, demystified and abstracted, creating volumetric surfaces composed of corporeal fragments. Eventually fascinated by strangeness and desirability, I focus on images of morbid obesity cases that propose an alternative dialogue within the parts and a new sense of proportion. I also have a jewelry line. Some collections are offsprings of the bigger work, others are independent projects like Pico de Botella and Shift, both upcycling exercises, the former using collective bottles, the latter repurposing the waste created by my own studio. I've also had the opportunity to collaborate with people whose work I admire, including glassmakers, designers, architects, and a video artist. Currently, I am working in a new line of research, generating discontinued surfaces created by planes, fluctuating configurations, a product of movement, light, and reflection. And saying this, special thanks to María Eugenia, Vivar, and the Glass Art Society for inviting me to participate in this year's conference.
Hola, saludos desde Valencia, España. Mi nombre es Sara Sorribes y soy la tercera generación de artesanos del vidrio de la empresa Vidrios Sorribes. Esta empresa se fundó en 1920, somos una empresa centenaria. Recientemente acabamos de celebrar nuestro centenario y tengo que deciros que estoy orgullosa de poder decir que a estas alturas sobrevivimos y vivimos de lo que nos gusta, que es trabajar el vidrio. Ya os digo, la empresa se creó en 1920 trabajando en laboratorio. Posteriormente, con la segunda generación, pasamos a la iluminación y al regalo. Y en la actualidad, que la regento yo, trabajamos proyectos de todo tipo. He cogido la sabiduría de mis antepasados y la he transformado en proyectos. Eso hace que podamos trabajar soplado, fusil, talla, joyas, lo que nuestros clientes deseen y necesiten. Así es que lo dicho, bienvenidos a mi mundo y gracias por darme la oportunidad de poder presentarme. Saludos.
Hi, my name is Montserrat Duran Montadas. I am an artist from Catalonia, Spain, but I am actually living in Montreal, Canada. In 2007, I graduated from the Centro Nacional del Vidrio at La Granja, and in 2010, I obtained a Bachelor in Visual Art from the University of Barcelona. Over the years, I have participated in more than 30 national and international group exhibitions. Also, I was a finalist and laureate of several awards such as the 2019 Prix François Houdet, as well as receiving grants from the Canada Council for the Arts. In 2015, I had my first solo exhibition at the Galerie Espace Vert in Montreal. Since then, I have had 9 solo exhibitions and I have several more planned up to 2022. My artistic projects emerge from my own personal perspective and experiences. In my current project, My Beautiful Children and Other Anomalies, I am exploring physical and psychological anomalies while reflecting on the female condition and one's obligation of experimenting motherhood to be considered a complete woman. This series consists of sculptural pieces and installations that combines blown glass, cast glass, flame-worked glass, and silkscreen printed fabrics, digital embroidered fabrics, and fabrics designed by other artists. To accept and describe one's anomaly, to show its beauty, to create from the inability of procreating, That was the challenge encountered while assembling the blown glass pieces and the other elements of this intimate yet public project.
Hola, I am María Martinez, Director of Glass Art Museum MAVA. I am from Spain. Alcorcón is a city located 12 kilometers south of Madrid, and yet it has more than 167 inhabitants. It is very easy to get MAVA from Madrid center because it is very well connected by bus and metro. However, we cannot say that MAVA is a museum for tourists. Most of our visitors are local and regional, probably because our activities is focused in schools, social association, cultural association, and families. We also carry out intensive work with artists that we invite to work with us. We have a workshop with facilities, events, and qualified staff, also all in a small format. Of course, we have a temporary exhibition program every year with artists international and national. Some of other activities are seminars and conferences and so on. We also are connected with different public and private universities of Madrid, and some students choose MAVA for their practice. It is very nice to have young people around. The MAVA is a very peculiar museum, not only because the material of our works are glass, but also because our collection are contemporary art. There is no other example like it in Spain. The MAVA will be 25 years old next year, the International Year of Glass, so in 2022 we will have a double celebration. We are very excited because of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Glass Art Society for this opportunity to show this great woman, and special thanks to them. Visit us on our website and on social media.